When the real final moments of God of War Ragnarok faded into black, almost everyone, all fans across the world, were left with probably one single question: what is actually gonna come next? The Norse saga has reached its emotional conclusion. Kratos had forced Odin. Ragnar survived Ragnarok itself, and for the first time in centuries, he is just simply not the ghost of Sparta anymore. It becomes something else, a protector, a symbol of hope. But if we've actually learned anything from the history of this franchise, it's that the story of Kratos is never really, truly finished. Behind the scenes, Santa Monica Studios remain incredibly quiet besides the remakes they're making. No official announcement, no cinematic teaser, nothing but silence. Yet in the gaming world, silence often means one thing: something pretty big is being prepared. And over the past couple of years, leaks, insider comments, and industry whispers have started painting a picture of what the future of the God of War universe might actually look like. There's a question everyone wants answered. Is another God of War game actually in development? Now, according to multiple industry insiders and reports, the answer appears to be yes. Rumors suggest that a new project connected to the God of War franchise is already being worked on behind closed scenes, though the exact form it'll take remains pretty unclear. Some reports even speculate a potential release window around 2026 or later, though nothing has been officially confirmed yet. But here's where things get maybe interesting. Instead of simply jumping straight into another traditional sequel, well, it seems that PlayStation might be thinking bigger, in fact, much bigger. Some reports suggest that Sony wants to expand the God of War universe into something closer to a long-running mythological saga, with spin-offs and interconnected stories that explore different characters and timelines. And that is, again, besides God of War 1, 2, and 3 remakes in the making. In other words, Ragnarok might not have been the end of a story. It may have been the beginning of an entire universe. One of the most talked about rumors right now is the possibility of a spin-off focus on one of the most mysterious characters in the series, Faye, the warrior giant and wife of Kratos, whose death set the entire Norse saga in motion. Although she rarely appeared directly in video games, her influence shaped almost everything that happened in the story. And according to recent rumors and insider discussions, a future title could actually explore her past, revealing where she came from, how she fought the gods, and how she ultimately crossed paths with the ghost of Sparta himself. Imagine stepping into a world before the events of the 2018 reboot, a world where the Norse realms were still mysterious, where giants were disappearing, where the hidden war between gods and giants was already brewing. Exploring that era through Faye's eyes could give players a completely new perspective on the mythology that shaped Ragnarok. But that's not the only possibility flowing around right now. Another major rumor circulating within the gaming community suggests that the next major God of War story might actually shift its focus to a completely different mythology. Throughout the franchise's history, Kratos has already torn through the Greek pantheon and battled the gods of the Norse realms. Naturally, fans have been wondering for years where the series could go next. So, one of the most popular theories right now, and one supported by someone insider, is the idea that the franchise could move toward Egyptian mythology. Some rumors proclaim that a future entry might introduce Egyptian weapons, environments, and deities into God of War universe, opening the door for an entirely new chapter of mythological conflict. And if that sounds familiar, it's because the idea of Kratos encountering the Egyptian gods has actually been teased in the concept art from years ago during the development of 2018 reboot. Back then, the developers ultimately chose Norse instead, but the idea of ancient Egypt never completely disappeared. Like, imagine Kratos walking through endless deserts on the burning suns, confronting gods like Anubis or Ra, while ancient pyramids tower over the horizon. It would be a completely different atmosphere compared to the frozen landscapes of Midgard and the towering branches of Yggdrasil. But perhaps the biggest mystery surrounding the future of the franchise is the role of Kratos himself. See, for over 15 years, Kratos has been the beating heart of God of War. Yet Ragnarok ended his story in a way that felt surprisingly peaceful compared to his past. For the first time, Kratos wasn't simply a destroyer of the world, he was becoming something more, a god who could protect rather than conquer. That has led many fans to believe that the next era of the series might gradually shift the spotlight away from him. One possibility is that Atreus, now older, wiser, and on his own journey, could eventually take center stage. Ragnarok ended with Atreus setting out in the world in search of the remaining giants, hinting that his story is just far from over. Exploring his travels across distant lands could naturally introduce new mythologies, new enemies, new allies. But according to some reports and rumors, Santa Monica Studio may even be experimenting with stories that take place entirely outside of Kratos' perspective. In fact, some insiders claim the studio might be building a new storyline that feels almost brand new, even though it still exists inside the God of War universe. That approach could allow the developers to expand the lore dramatically, introducing new heroes, new villains, entire new mythological worlds without abandoning the legacy of the stories. And then there's also the timeline question. Some fans believe that the next God of War game could actually revisit the past instead of pushing forward into the future. There has been rumors suggesting a smaller scale prequel project that might return players to ancient Greece, exploring events from Kratos' earlier years or stories connected to characters like Deimos. Returning to Greece could be incredibly powerful for longtime fans. After all, that's where the story of the Ghosts of Sparta began. Revisiting those lands with modern graphics and storytelling could bring the saga full circle, showing players how the legacy of the Greek gods still echoes throughout the world. But no matter which direction the developers ultimately choose, one thing's pretty clear, that the God of War franchise is just far from finished. Santa Monica Studio has spent decades refining its storytelling, its combat system, its breathtaking cinematic presentation. Each new game has raised the bar higher than the last, transforming what began as a brutal hack-and-slash series into one of the most emotionally complex narratives in gaming. And if the rumors are true, the next chapter could push that evolution even further. New mythologies, new characters, new gods waiting to be challenged. Somewhere behind the closed doors of Santa Monica Studio, developers are likely already crafting the next journey, designing worlds we've probably never seen before, writing stories we haven't heard yet, and shaping the future of one of gaming's most legendary franchise to the date. The fires of Ragnarok may have burned the old world away, but in the ashes of that war, a new saga may already be rising. And when the Ghost of Sparta returns, whether in Greece, Egypt, or somewhere far beyond, one thing's certain, the gods should be afraid.